Hi, and thanks for tuning in to Conversations with India AI, our leadership podcast series where we give you a glimpse into the workings of successful tech leaders, their eureka moments, their tribulations, and so much more. In the past year and a half have led to a raft of changes in the way we live, the way we work, interact, and do business. One of the industry sectors that has experienced a complete flip is business process management. The advent of AI technologies, specifically RPA, has revolutionized the way contact centers work in 2021 and probably will be in the foreseeable future. So, with this space getting more competitive structurally and geographically, innovation and out of the box thinking is the name of the game. So today I have with me Ravi Saraogi, who's the co-founder and president APAC of Uniphore, a leading conversational AI technology company, who will be discussing the changes brought about by COVID to contact centers today, the role of AI and analytics in modern day business process management, and what it's like catering to continuously evolving customer preference with digital solutions that are cutting edge, innovative, and completely out of the box. So Ravi, thank you so much for being here on Conversations with INDIAai.
Well, thank you, Sindhuja, for having me on your show. Really appreciate it.
Good to have you back, and I'm really excited about our conversation today. So, first things, I think COVID, like we were just talking about earlier, when we just before we started this discussion, I think it's on everyone's mind, and it impacted us in more ways than we can count, and most definitely the way business is being done. So, what do you think are the most significant changes that COVID has brought upon in the contact center landscape? And do you think it's here to stay, or do you think it's just here as long as COVID is?
That's a great question, Sindhuja, to start with. I personally believe, and we at Uniphore believe, that first of all, it is going to stay. It's not going to be sort of a one-off event in our lives. It is going to stay. What certainly has COVID done in the BPM industry is it has accelerated the pace of consumption and adoption of technologies like conversational AI into its space. If you look at contact center pre-pandemic, was basically a setup where it is a building which has agents, desktops, their processes, etc., quality automation, all of it embedded into one single physical space. With the advent of COVID, not only other businesses and their modules and their work processes have forced them to work from home, it has also impacted the contact center and the BPM industry in the same way. Agents have overnight shifted into a work from home mode. In the first 3 odd months, the BPM industry was basically dealing with a scenario where from working into a single building or single physical space setup, moving them to a work from home setup. And then after that, as it got stabilized, as it became a BAU mode, we saw a lot of enablement that could have been done with conversational AI and with our product and platform space of conversational service automation. We worked with some of the largest BPM players globally to really enable them to not only enable their agents to operate in a big way in a work from home mode, but really take that forward in enabling multiple other areas of execution like quality automation, like bringing in elements of AI in initial automation of conversation, to assisting the agents during the conversation, to automating the work post-conversation as well. And an advent of pandemic has really increased and accelerated the use of conversational service automation platform. And together we, along with some of the leading BPM players across the world, have really taken this together and deployed it for work from home agents. Now, from agents' perspective as well, the world was not easy. It certainly had enabled them to open up their laptops in their homes, in their residences, and take customer calls with the network, which is at their place, with all other systems in their place rather than that physical infrastructure. So it was a big change overall for the industry. And I think we are extremely glad to contribute in an extremely positive way with our conversational service automation platform in bringing in automation with the layers of speech, AI, machine learning, and all of it, video, RPA, all coming in together to support the conversation and really increasing the overall customer experience through the process. In your last element that you asked, that is it going to stay here? We believe, yes, absolutely it's going to stay here. In fact, the estimated numbers are that 40% of the agents post-pandemic, or as we call it, an endemic going forward, will continue to remain work from home mode. And that also brings in benefits to large BPM players to prepare them for, God forsake, if any other event, such event happens in our lives, then they should be readily available, or they should be ready with the process of working from home again. So we believe that 40% of the agents will largely work from home, continue to work from home, while the rest of the workforce will potentially be hybrid.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's this entire time has really sort of compelled every industry to think on its feet and really just sort of make a very, very quick pivot. So I think now that ball is sort of set into motion, it's only about trying to leverage that even more with especially more advanced emerging technologies. So on that note, how specifically technologies like AI and analytics really changing contact centers today? How are they becoming more future forward and catering to rising client demand and customer demand?
So when you talk about AI, and especially in our context of conversational service automation and customer service industry, AI, which includes machine learning, natural language understanding and processing, alongside robotic process automation, we believe can work as a co-pilot to a human agent in a real-time mode and really augment the interaction between the customer and the agent, right? And AI has the capability to provide intelligent self-service option to customers. Today in our current world, we go and when we call an 1800 number, we press multiple different buttons or potentially go and talk to a chatbot. But many a times we get into conversations which are complex, which some of these initial interaction channels don't enable us to resolve our issues. Yeah. And that point in time, the call is transferred to the human agents. But what we at Uniphore have been able to do with the amalgamation of machine learning, RPA, video, AI, plus speech recognition in 100 plus different languages, we brought this all together to not only automate the initial leg, but instead of you pressing multiple different buttons or talking to a mundane chatbot, you can go aggressive on it and say, I want to know my account balance. You can just say it and the machine should understand what are you saying in your regional language and then provide a response, appropriate response by ensuring that you are an authentic customer by using voice biometrics and then getting the response. But as the conversation gets complex, we continue to listen to the conversation. And as it moves to the agent, we then provide an assistant to an agent on their screens, which listens to the conversation in real time and then provides notification on agent's screen, which will highlight potential cross-sell, upsell opportunities, compliance issues, improvement of collections, sentiment analysis, notification to supervisors, etc. And then post-call, again, the platform continues to work. And now, instead of agent summarizing the call, which happens traditionally in every contact center, our systems are able to completely summarize the call with great efficacy. At the same time, reducing the overall productivity or bringing in productivity gains by about 70 to 80% in that process. So we believe that the combination of voice, AI, machine learning all together can bring in a big change in the contact center space. And there would hardly be any contact center in the upcoming years which will not be touched upon by AI in some form or factor. At the same time, we don't believe, Sindhuja, that it is going to be a world which will be completely led by machines. No. When you face any issues, when you face any trouble, you would like to talk to a human being, right?
That's right.
And we understand that emotional connect is very important. And we believe that it will be an amalgamation of machine and human beings talking together to the customer. And that would provide a tremendous gain in customer experience and improvement in productivity.
Right. I think in a sense, you're really empowering your agents and making them that much more dynamic as resources and not just, single-minded in terms of their focus. They know so much more about the business as a result of this. So I think if anything, it's a win-win. So it's good that, the whole industry is sort of maturing in that manner wherein the two strengths can really complement each other. So I think it's obviously been a very busy and exciting year for you. A lot of changes, I'm sure. At the same time, there have been some very interesting acquisitions. I just want to know more about that. You acquired RPA Technology in October 2020, and of course, Emotion Research Lab in January 2021. So, what are the significance of these acquisitions to Uniphore?
these are investments and these are acquisitions, Sindhuja, that we have made, which would really take us extremely way forward than compared to any other peers that we have in the industry. With the acquisition of Emotion Research Lab, we have added a new capability around video AI. We already had a lot of capabilities around voice AI.
Okay.
And then with the inclusion of and acquisition of entity data's RPA technology, we have kind of completed the layer with voice, video, and RPA coming together, supported through a very robust homegrown AI bit. Now, if, as you saw, because the world was locked down completely, right, a lot of our interactions, be it businesses or be it consumers, have changed the way we communicate. Most of the sales, most of the hiring, most of the marketing, most of the interviews are all happening over a remote channel, over video channel. Right. And it's a natural progression. And we believe that with the all-powerful voice layer that we had in conversational service automation platform, and then with an amalgamation of RPA, if we can bring in changes in how the system talks to the backend and bring much more effective output to the agents on the screen, that's a win-win. So that's the first thing that we did. We acquired the entity data's RPA capability, but then we moved ahead. And we thought that it's an area that we can sort of go ahead and complete if we have a video capability. And that's where the entire acquisition of Emotion Research Lab came into being. Now, we believe that the addition of facial emotion recognition software to Uniphore's platform will really enable the use of AI, deep learning, and automation to analyze, extract, and make recommendations based on real-time data, right? Not just being said, but using individual expressions through voice and video, right? With eye movement and a variety of other parameters, we should be able to really understand the true emotion of the person, right? And then that would bring in a lot of capabilities across multiple different use cases, which will go beyond the customer service industry and will expand potentially into areas of sales, HR, marketing, and maybe 15 other more different areas that we can explore into.
Got it. Okay, very interesting indeed. So I think this is something you must be constantly thinking about in terms of how customer preferences are just constantly moving along and evolving in the industry. So how is a company like Uniphore really poised to serve your clients better than conventional service providers? And you did say that at some point, all the CSA, customer service automation, is going to move to, conversational service automation is going to move to a more AI-oriented, domain. So how is it that you're going to constantly try to make this experience better for your clients?
Well, Sindhuja, if you look at 3 years prior to today, right, people were still talking about bringing in traditional analytics into contact center space by understanding customer and agent interaction. Yeah. And now where we are now effectively talking about enabling those agents real time with AI capabilities, leave aside analytics. But the world has moved really fast in the last 2-3 years, right? And the pandemic has really accelerated that growth further. Now our customers were looking at introducing multiple different efficiencies in their operations, right? And we did recognize that the legacy systems, which are present in the contact center industry, were not robust enough operationally to really take forward the capabilities of AI together. Now, but COVID really helped us and acted as a catalyst in executing and accelerating all this growth. Over the last 1 year or so, Uniphore has won 5 major multi-year, multi-dollar clients. That includes WNS, Sitel, Tech Mahindra, FirstSource, and Entity Data. The large customer service companies wanted technology that could bring in massive upgrades in how they functioned with their legacy systems, right? They wanted faster and more efficient customer service to be delivered. And the end customer, you or I or any other end consumer, when we called a contact center 10 years back or 5 years back or recently, right, we always faced issues where our calls are always transferred. We don't know if our request would be taken up, if the complaints would be solved, etc. With all the technologies that are being enabled now, if things are not getting solved, then the RPA can immediately raise an alarm saying that you made a promise and you did not fulfill it. Or if the agents are not handling the customers properly, then the supervisor can get real-time notification stating that your customer is really unhappy, please go into the call and barge in. Or as soon as the call ends, right, the agents are summarizing the call, but they may not be summarizing it accurately, or they might be sort of just putting in data because they have to. And if that is taken over by machine, then it basically brings in a lot of more uniformity and accuracy to what exactly happened in that call. And then giving the agents the power to really focus on how to improve the customer experience while rest of the mundane tasks are executed by our platform, and bringing in true productivity gains to the BPM partners. There are several studies, Sindhuja, which say that some of the largest BPM players who don't adopt new age technologies, new AI-led systems, etc., will face tremendous pressures from their existing customers, their large enterprise customers, etc., to go ahead and adopt it. If they don't, then it becomes a challenge to continue with certain businesses, right?
Yeah.
And it is here to stay. It is here to expand. It is here to be supported to large enterprise customers. And I'm glad that the largest of BPM players are taking a note of it and executing it at the right time.
Yeah, I hope it sort of paves the way ahead for more people to adopt these kinds of technologies in the future and really sort of streamline the whole customer experience. And you're right about, it being such a game changer. As a user, as a customer myself, I can attest to that. So, with marquee investors on your board, like, of course, John Chambers, and a new CFO that you've hired, that's Stefan Berthier, what kind of direction do you hope that Uniphore will assume in the near future? How will the leadership of people like this really sort of take your game to the next level?
Well, Sindhuja, we as a company has not only been forward thinking about our solutions, products, and platform, but we also have been extremely forward thinking on how the overall business strategy should evolve. Sure. And with mentors and board members like John Chambers, Andrea Ayers, Bert Portbear, it becomes obviously much easier because we have access to the best in the business in terms of their mind share. And really enables us to go ahead and take some of those decisions very, very quickly. Uniphore, with the leverage of the recent Series D funding of $140 million, which I'm assuming you must have heard, would really allow us to continue to expand the platform capabilities that we have. With that, we also are today present in 13 countries. We believe that there are certain territories we should be present, and in the next 18 months to 24 months, we'll expand to some of the additional countries as well. And Uniphore currently is a little over 300 people globally, and we intend to double our headcount in the next 12 months, which will allow us to really expedite the growth that we want to execute, and then eventually really take this forward in a way where we become the first company globally to have innovated speech, video tech combined, right? And we are excited about the endless possibilities that the combination of these two can really bring to the table for us. Eventually, we hope to be a one-stop shop for any AI architecture for any enterprise globally, right? Be it working through our large consulting partners, BPM partners, or with large system integrators. We believe that, like any other company which would possibly take all sorts of sort of hardware from one single OEM for their data center needs or internal needs, or be it a company which brings in all kinds of back-end ERP, etc. kind of need from a large services organization. We want to be one organization where we bring in a one-stop AI architecture to all the large enterprises, right? And be the best in the breed, best in the business in that case.
That's wonderful. Kudos to you to that. And I really hope that you're able to achieve this vision as soon as possible, and, to more power to you. So thank you so much for your time, Ravi. It was great talking to you. And thanks to everyone for tuning into this episode. You can follow all our updates on our website and social channels. We'll be back very soon with another exciting interview. Until then, stay safe, stay connected. Thanks, Ravi.
Yeah.